What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Clash of Cosmos. My camera decided to freeze right as we were starting, so you're going to just get to listen to my voice and not see me talk, which is great. There we go. Galaxies suck. Winless in 13, but if you want to hear us rant and cry about this team, you can go back to last week's episode. During our time off, 7-0, that's cool. And then in impressive fashion, blowing a 2-goal lead in Philadelphia. Andrew is here today. Dari is here today. Mila is here today, and I'm here. So we got a full crew for the first time in a while. Hopefully that will bring us some good luck going into El Tráfico. But because Galaxyland just spoils us with the riches of good news all the time and breaking news so that we have something to talk about while our team sucks. Greg Vanney gets extended, becoming one of the highest paid coaches in the MLS. So I think we should let's start there, then we can kind of go over the games. But I mean, massive news for a team that hasn't won a game in the league to extend their manager is pretty crazy. I don't remember a time where that's ever really happened. So yeah, let's start there. Andrew, you want to give your thoughts on Greg Vanney's extension with the team?
Yeah, I think, like you mentioned, the circumstance is pretty shocking. Winless in 13, breaking all of these negative records, losing to teams without conceding shots, giving up 2-goal leads, getting 7 scored on you. Like you mentioned, that's probably never happened in the history of a game where a manager oversees that run of form. Winless in 13, there's just so much you could say negative, and he got rewarded for it. Well, I mean, that's the narrative. That's what it looks like. But we saw in the announcement that this was something that was decided after Greg Vanney won the cup with the MLS, with the Galaxy last year. And it's super interesting to think about that. If this announcement comes in December, right after that cup win in the offseason, if his agent is able to finalize those details, I think the conversation is a lot different. We're talking about renewing a coach who just won the cup versus renewing a coach who overseed a pretty shit run of form. So very different scenarios, but that's just what contracts are like at this top level. You take your time to make those details, and like Clint mentioned, I think he did. They were more concerned with making signings than thinking the contract. They knew that that was in place, that the renewal was going to happen, and they thought that they want to build with this team. That's what their focus was going to be in the offseason. And I think that's just indicative of what this signing is about. It's not necessarily of appeasing us as fans or changing the situation immediately, but it's about building for 2026, 2027, 2028. Something I've talked about a lot with you guys and other Galaxy group chats is that as soon as Ricky Puig got injured last year, I feel like Kuntz knew that 2025 was going to be a wash, that we weren't really going to be the same team. We weren't going to be as competitive. We definitely should have some more points than we do right now. At least a win, I think, is the expected standard. But regardless, making playoffs still might have been difficult. Having deep cup runs might have been difficult without Ricky Puig. And I think the upper management knew that. So that's why we made the signings that we did. I think a big criticism around this time, besides Kuntz renewing a manager who has overseen such a bad run, is the signings that we've made. That's something that I've seen a lot, a big argument I've heard for Kuntz that he needs to take some accountability for. But we're talking about players like Sanabria, Nascimento, Winder, who really this season haven't showed up too much. Sanabria, Nascimento, and Winder, sorry, they both had their best game probably in that 2-0 loss to Philly. I thought they were a big part of the best 45 minutes that we've played this year. And so they're starting to show a little bit, but the vast majority of people are going to say that the Kunze signings have been useless. And I definitely get that perspective. You look at the numbers, what they've done this year, that's absolutely true. I'm not going to try to argue that. But I think it's all about the ideology behind those decisions. We understood that 2025 was going to be a wash, so let's make some investments for 26, 27, 28. To me, Sanabria, Winder, Nasi, they all feel like Dejan Joveljic. You give them a couple of years to grow, develop, understand the system, and then they're going to be killers that are going to help you win a cup. Dejan, he really only became the guy for the Galaxy in 2024 when he won that cup. When he signed back in 2021, he had a lot. He was super raw. That was the criticism. He was raw. He had a lot to grow, and he came a super long way. It took years for it to happen, but it paid off when he helped us win a cup. And I think that's the same mentality with these signings, that we're going to invest in them, let them grow, especially Sanabria, Winder. Obviously, super talented young players that did good at their previous clubs. It's about getting them used to this system, letting them grow as Vanney players and as players in general. Dejan grew leaps and bounds under Greg Vanney in those years, and we have to understand that it's probably going to take years. And I think we also know exactly how long this is going to take. This Vanney extension showed us a lot of that. Renewed his contract up until 2028. We have Ricky Puig also until 2027. It feels like to me that what this says is that Puig and Vanney are going to be our guys again. And now it's up to Kuntz to surround them with a team who is going to win a cup in 27, in 28. And we're just laying down the building blocks for that. That means we have to suffer a lot this year, but I think it's going to be a big payoff. I definitely understand all the criticism, all the negativity, but we also have to understand this year was probably going to be a wash anyway. So why not use it to build for the future? So really interested. Definitely two very valid arguments on both sides.
Mhm.
But I'm happy with this move. I'm a big Vanney fan, and I'm excited to see Vanney ball in his fullest form again. Probably not in 26, but 27, 28, I'm stoked.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely get where you're coming from with the trust in the future, build for the future. And obviously, a drop off is expected given the restructuring of the squad and the players we've lost, just injuries over time. But it's it's just like a sour taste in your mouth, when this is what we have right now. And like you said, this season could be a wash without Ricky, but this is embarrassing. This is abysmal football right now. And you'd hope to see some spark of light from those signings like you talked about, and we just haven't really seen it yet. It just seems like it's all going really bad really quickly. So you are right. We do need to be a little more hopeful and look to the future, but I do see the difficulty in doing that because it's grim right now.
Yeah, just the timing of it was super poor. I don't. Greg Vanney deserved an extension. That wasn't really up in the air for me. Like, you win an MLS Cup, you are absolutely deserving of an extension, regardless of if that's at the end of this season or if it was the end of last season. But the fact that they chose to do it at this junction of the year is just bad PR. It's just bad
I agree.
sports. Like, you don't do that. Like, this is more of a business sense. Like, hey, if we're having our worst stretch of games ever, let's probably not announce an extension of the guy who's probably the leader of the force here in terms of, like, this is going to be the guy that gets first chopped off the block. On the flip side of that, if they had just done it at the beginning of the season and we're like, hey, Greg, here's your extension, we're just going to announce it. Maybe things aren't all finalized, but whatever. Greg Vanney is going to be extended. It didn't even need to be like, here's the final thing. But we didn't even get reports from like Tom Boger or anything like that.
Yeah, it was very under wraps. But I think what Andrew did bring it up earlier when we were all texting, that it could be just them giving him a little bit of assurance.
Yeah.
A little hand on the shoulder, like, don't worry right now. Like, we understand. It'll be okay. But to a fan's point of view, like, this is not the time to do it. You can have those talks internally with Vanney and be like, yeah, we gentleman's agreement, we will get you this extension, just ride through the storm. But to go out there, post everything about it, like, I don't know. They could be announcing a whole lot of other stuff right now, like dropping ticket prices or drop in concession prices for all the stuff there to bring people in during this terrible time. But instead, they're announcing that they're going to give more money to the coach that is in charge of this team right now. It leaves a bad taste in my mouth, I think.
Agreed.
What if the season continues like this bad? It's just terrible, and then it's like, now we renew him because it was already pretty much agreed, like, because he won the cup, they're going to renew it. I don't know. I just feel like it's a bad situation. It's like a lose-lose. And I feel like it probably was announced now to kind of give that assurance, almost like a false manager bounce. Like, it's like, all right, he's here to stay. Like, let's lock it in. But yeah, it feels strange. Anything announced from the Galaxy that's not a win is not going to be received well, I think, at this point.
That's fair. The environment's very toxic and sour. Like that's just the state that we're in. And until we start winning games, like that's not changing. It's just not.
Definitely.
They've just played like shit. Dude, that might be the worst stretch of games in the history of the franchise, right? Like
the league, that's statistically true.
I guess
in the history of the league, any team, not just our team.
Mhm.
That's
how does that happen? Like it's funny because you wrote it in your article. Like they continue to break records and they continue to do it in the wrong way, but they just find ways. You've said it multiple times. I think the saying was like grasping defeat from. Do you know what I'm? Yeah, you said that multiple times, and I'm like, oh, okay. You know, at some point this is going to stop. They're going to stop doing that. They keep finding ways to do it.
As soon as you go from you can't get any worse, they find a way to make it happen. I've said that a couple times too. It's just been a story of the year. But I do think Dari's point about that fake manager bounce is probably, we talk about timing being, it's just really bad right now, leaving a sour taste in our mouths. I agree with that. I think it does look optically bad, but I think it's more about the players. It's very clear that the players are behind Vanney right now. We've seen Diego Fagundes, Ricky Puig, leaders in the locker room stand behind him. We got a new tweet from Ricky Puig today backing his manager and saying that he's here to win titles with Greg Vanney. So I think locking them down is more about telling the players, okay, this is your guy. You guys back him, so do we. And we have a massive game coming up tomorrow against LAFC. I think
it's on Sunday.
Sunday, sorry. Yeah, but it's
you're
about
good.
timing there. It's just about giving them that confidence, I guess, in their manager, that they're not worried about this game being do or die for Greg Vanney. They're just going to go out and play, go out and win is going to be their mentality. So, yeah, I think that's a big another argument for the timing. Yeah, it looks bad optically, but it's not necessarily about us. It's about the players on the pitch who are actually going to make a difference. And I think that's another good point from Dari there.
Yeah. No, it's hard because I agree. I like this. I like the fact that he got an extension. I like Greg Vanney. I think he's a good manager. And over the last few games, he's tried different things. Like I can't even be mad at him anymore. Like he did exactly what we asked for. He went to the 5-back. He did essentially exactly what we asked for in that game. We got smoked. I was kind of like a taste of everyone's medicine. Like, hey, you think you can cut it? Now watch when I put this team out in the 5-back. Watch them get fucking smoked.
It wasn't our 5-back though.
It wasn't our 5-back. That's fair.
We would have won 7-0.
Good point. You know, it's never our fault. And then, yeah, Royce in the false 9 was really cool. I think that's the perfect segue into this game because let's start happy. We saw life. Like I genuinely picked Taylor up off of. We were sitting on the couch. I picked her up. I was so happy that we had scored goals. Like we were playing good footy. I was like, this is it, dude. Like I was jumping, and it was like, finally, we've done it. We've done it. No, we did not do it. But let's start with Royce, because over the last few games when we've been super shit, he's been very good, and he's been very good for a few weeks now. Him and Fagundes, for that matter, have both been really good, and I'm super impressed with the way that they've taken on this kind of responsibility and this leadership role because I think the team's needed it, and he's been really good. And I really liked this false 9. I hope that we're going to see this more going forward. But his ability to take in pressure and take in the ball and then spray it out to the wings, like I was already imagining it with Paintsel and Peck, either side of him. I don't know if you guys were thinking the same things, but that's
definitely.
He's class, man. For all the worries that I had when you just take out all the responsibilities of having to defend and just say, hey, be you and be one of the greatest attacking minds that the sport's ever seen. Go ahead.
And I think that's a good point too, because his efficiency did drop off once Ramirez came into the game.
Yep.
Like, I think they were both playing up top though, but that's not what we need. We don't need 2 strikers in this team or 2 guys operating in that space.
Apparently, we don't need 1.
Yeah.
No, I think the way you put it, Dylan, like it couldn't be any simpler. Just let Royce be Royce. Let him do his thing. And it's interesting to say, but even like flashes of Ricky Puig, all of a sudden it's a brilliant ball in behind, and there's a quick break. and it's up to other players to do something with it. Or he breaks with another player, Diego Fagundes on his side, for example. It's just those were the kinds of situations Ricky Puig would create for us. He'd get out of that pressure in the middle of the park and make something happen. And he did it a couple of times, got a couple of great assists, made lots of other chances besides that. And yeah, it felt like vintage Royce. And so I think that's the position that he has to play. I think it was solidified. It's very clear. And it sounds so simple. Again, it's just let Royce be Royce. All this, having him in the midfield do other, give him other offensive responsibilities. In hindsight, obviously, but it's like, duh, why were we doing that in the first place?
Yeah, why weren't we doing that in the first place?
And I think the answer to that is the midfield. It's the key position besides the defense. There's been a lot of changes there, but that's had the most variations. I believe before the Kansas City game, I went through the lineups, and in those 14 games, including Conca Champions, all of that, we had 10 different midfield combinations in 14 games. And that's a lot of change, lots of different players in there, lots of different shapes. And it was really just figuring it out. And I think we have to give some credit to the younger players we talked about earlier, Winder and Sanabria. They did, I think, really, really great. I loved, there was this one foul that we talked about in the group chat that Winder did, just sort of clattered into a player, but he stopped the attack. He was a big backbone there. And I thought it was brilliant. Greg Vanney in a press conference, I forget after which game, but he said that he's looking for the midfield to have some more backbone. We need to be hard to play against. We need to be hard to play through. We need to be assholes, essentially, not let things get through us. That wasn't typically the DNA, but Winder and Sanabria have introduced that a little bit. They, I thought, looked really good in those 45 minutes, that first half at least. I'm really struggling to understand what happened in the second half. But Isaiah Parente, we've sung his praises a couple of times on this podcast this year. Also, another really great game, really tenacious, making those tackles. And I think that is the foundation for Marco Reus to do what he can do. We had a hard midfield to get through, and let Reus just focus on making his magic. So really, really good performance from them. In the second half, it feels like, to me, it was a case of depth of substitutes. Philly, really great team, fantastic this year. I was super worried coming into it. And their substitutes, they did brilliantly. They changed the game completely in Philly's favor. And once it was time for the Galaxy to start making some subs, we saw what happened. It wasn't the same 11. So I think the next question, we know the shape. We know what we can do in the first 45 minutes. How do we keep it throughout the 90 minutes? And the truth is, with the depth that we have right now, until we maybe make some signings or figure something else out, that's going to be very difficult for Vanney. But again, it's not necessarily his fault. It's just the players that we have. So he's got to work with what he has. That's all he can do. But yeah, I just want to wrap that up. Midfield did a great job. That opened up Royce. We need to figure out a way to make that last.
Yeah. The youth was very, very good. And it allowed Royce to be Royce. The game changed for me once Philly just started playing direct. Like I called it kickball. That's what it was. Like they just essentially started booting the ball up the field and beat us to every 50-50. Nelson was poor. The whole back line in this match was really poor. Really poor.
Wow, this is from Garces. There's that clip of him throwing Baribo on the ground, playing WWE. Yep. We've talked a lot about his mentality. That's just, you don't want to see it from him.
Yeah, I mean, I got to mention it because it's been on my mind for a couple games, but Yoshida's been awful. He's been awful, and I don't know if it's because he's being asked to do a lot, but like every 50-50 in the air, he's lost. I don't think I've watched a game recently where I'm like, oh yeah, Yoshida won the 50-50 here. Like both of their goals that got them back into the game were kind of a direct result of him not being in the right spot or being a half step late. And I don't know if it's because he's still injured or if he's still like kind of battling through stuff, but like this wasn't the same Yoshida last year where it was like, well, he won that. That's him. Like he's just that guy. It feels like he's been a half step slow or just not really, like maybe he's being asked to do too much and he's just exerting way more energy. Like the last goal that they scored, like we don't clear our lines. He's on his ass and the ball gets chipped over him and then they just put it away. And it's like, unfortunately, like our captain, we can't have our captain doing that in games where we need to be picking up at least a point. Like that was a gut punch of all gut punches. And maybe that's why we honestly announced this extension, was just to try to bring some positivity back into the side. Because after everything that's happened, no goals to
Own goals.
and he has the own goal, then the 7-0, and as a defender, if you're giving up 7 goals, like, and you're the captain, like that's a reflection upon you. And then this game where he was not good at all. I don't know how they gave him a 6-7, if I'm being honest with you. I've got concerns currently with it, and I don't know if there's any fixing of that.
There's no fixing it though, because you put in one of our other guys, and it's worse.
Yeah, it is.
I feel like this is kind of something we saw from Yoshida a little bit at the beginning of last season, and then as the season went on, it just kind of shored up. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on this year.
He's an old player. We're not playing good. He's the captain. I think it's a lot on him, a lot of responsibility, and he's not some young superstar that we could just expect to put on his back and carry the team. Like this guy can lead the guys when we're in good times and try to keep them afloat when we're in bad, but I don't think he can do much more right now. No. I do agree he needs to win some more 50-50s, but I don't know. This season's been such a clusterfuck. I've seen him go up for 50-50s and get taken out by Garces. So
that's also true. There's a lot of times during the games where like him or Garces will like essentially be shadowing them. Like they don't trust each other, is what it feels like. Which is
I think that game. I genuinely think that game where he yelled at him. There was a deterioration in their relationship as a center back pairing. It hasn't looked great since then.
No,
that could be either Yoshida's past his run, or Garces wasn't what we thought he would be, or maybe it's too much for him right now. He's too inexperienced to rise to that level. But our center back pairing is not what it was at the end of last season. And it's definitely concerning going into the future with what we have right now, because I don't have much faith in Garces to lead us in a future sense. We got rid of our young guy.
Yeah.
We picked up another old guy who's not even up to par with Yoshida, who we're complaining about right now. So
yeah,
that leaves Zavaleta.
And so he came on the pitch and we conceded.
He played great.
He wasn't working.
Oh no, not that one. Not that one. Sorry, the game before that where he started. Yeah, it's like I said earlier, it's looking grim. All of it's looking grim right now.
It's like we're overcompensating for everything. Like I don't know. Like they both feel like they're like. Garces feels like he has to make up for all of Yoshida's deficiencies because of age. So you see him just like hovering in space, trying to pick up space. And then Yoshida doesn't trust him from a mental standpoint. So he's always like right next to him whenever there's a challenge, or he's worried that he's going to go way too rash and then he's going to go sliding off the pitch. And then he's stuck defending alone. And yeah,
I think Yoshida's just frustrated too. You could see the way he's interacting with the refs now.
Yeah, that's true.
He's not. It's not hard to read him when he loses his shit and he's not mentally there anymore. You could very well see it, and it's been showing the last 2 games at least.
I feel like it's mental for both of them, both Garces and Yoshida. Garces, we've just seen lots of ridiculous outbursts, honestly, from him. We love it when he's like sliding into a player and winning that challenge and recovering those balls. The fastest player in the MLS, and this is kind of a little bit of a side, but we had Joseph Paintsol tracked as tied for first in fastest players in the world. Now Garces is faster than him apparently in the MLS. Does that make him the fastest player defender in the world? Brilliant, But then physical attributes, you can't say anything wrong about him. It's just the mental side of it. He loses his head way too quickly. He's a center back. You want him to have that warrior mentality, to be a dog, to be a little bit of a lunatic, but you got to rein it in. You can't be body slamming in the middle of the game. He really should have had a red card for that. Astounded at how he hasn't, but it's just mental. He needs to maybe mature a little bit. We forget a lot of the time because he looks like such a beast that he's a kid essentially in his heart. So he just, I feel like, needs to mature. But he's probably feeling that same frustration that Maya Yoshida is feeling. And for Maya, I feel like it started at the beginning of the season, getting asked to take a pay cut after leading the team in minutes, captaining them to an MLS Cup. That's got to hurt, especially after moving your family halfway across the world. It's a very interesting, difficult situation for him. And he still had to be the captain, show be there in press conferences, just be that guy, take a lot of the blame. Again, as a captain, we talk about that 7-0 as being a reflection of him. He's feeling it, all these performances and these wins. He feels very responsible. So again, it's just the mentality isn't quite there for him. Not winning anything in the air, but I think on the ground he's still great. I thought he had a decent game because I wasn't focusing too much on the aerial stuff. I wasn't really paying that much attention to who was there. I'm more of a ball watcher, I guess. In that sense, I should pay more attention to that. But I thought he had a good game because he just cut out lines, and just again, good in standing tackles, good in slide tackles, stopping those attacks. Again, especially in that first half, maybe cherry picking a little bit there, but you want to see some better mentality. And, maybe this Vanney renewal is going to be a little bit of that. Give them a little bit of peace of mind. Okay, we're not playing for a manager's job anymore, and just let them focus on what it is. But definitely need a lot of improvements. And if we're talking building for the future, that center back position is going to be important, probably where we'll see some changes. Who knows if we have Yoshida next year? I don't know if he's willing to take another pay cut. I don't think he's going to get a pay raise with the way the cap is going. So maybe we make some changes there and things look a little bit better in 26, 27. But right now, that's what we got. And we just got to make do. There's no other.
Mm-hmm.
We got to, take our medicine.
I think in terms of the Vanney thing, extension, bringing up the squad, should we have done it after El Tráfico?
You have no idea how that game's gonna go. I feel like if we lose El Tráfico and then we do it, it looks even worse than us doing it now.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, I don't know either.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. But also, if we lose terribly and we just, I guess either way, it's not good.
At this point, it really can't get much worse. We've already broken all the records for most losses in a row, and at this point,
it can get worse. We cannot win a game this season.
Ricky's going to come back at some point this season, so
I don't think I don't think he comes back if in the regular season.
I think that if he's healthy, he plays.
Crap.
I think Kuntz said November. Kuntz. I need to stop pronouncing it like that. Kuntz. I think he said November in one of the press conferences. I feel like I remember that sticking out to me.
November it's too late. If we're not even sniffing playoffs, he's not going to play.
Yeah.
He tore it in November?
It's about a year. Yeah. It's 7. I feel like it can be 7 to 12 months for that ACL.
I feel like ACLs are not a full year thing. That's like an
not for professional.
It depends.
It might, extend your recovery. I don't know.
Yeah, if the season's a wash, there might you might be right. It might just.
That's the thing. Normally a professional athlete, I don't think would take a whole year, but
it shouldn't. I mean, Rodgers.
Dari was just saying. Yeah, I know, but I don't
even
know.
If it's a wash, not playing football for an entire, it's going to be more than an entire year. Is not something I want our star players.
That's not what I'm saying. Yeah, he might be training with the guys again, but it might just not be worth to have the guy go in after this injury. He's the most fouled player in the league last year. To throw him in for no reason, to have him just get kicked around for 5 games to get us our 15-point or 5 win, I just don't. I don't see the point of it.
My issue would be that he wouldn't play from November till the following February. That's so long without playing football.
You're mortals. I think that's a great point, but we're talking about Ricky Puig. That man, he does things that can't be explained. So I think
he's gonna want to come back too.
He's not gonna.
I think that's the bigger thing. Kuntz mentioned that again, that he would be, if they let him, he'd probably be playing right now. He's that type of player. He's a tough bastard. So I think they're just taking it serious.
Yeah. I don't disagree. I personally, I don't think I want to see him playing as well if there's no point. But at the same time, I understand being an athlete and I'd want to be out there, and him getting some minutes probably isn't the worst thing, even if they're just cameos. But
pivot.
This is LAFC. They have drawn 3 and won 2 in their last 5. They're a good side. They've been a good side. Then they just killed Seattle. Yeah, Dari, what are your we've been at a bunch of LAFC LA Galaxy games, I feel like, over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on them in this game?
I don't know. I think it's been pretty interesting seeing the lead up. I'm seeing a lot of LAFC fans worried, which is pretty interesting because I don't really think our team has much to worry about. But anything can happen in these games. And, I mean, we've been in worse – we haven't been in worse positions, but we've been in terrible positions before and pulled off results in games like these. So you never really know what's going to happen. I mean, we've shown – something in some parts of some games. So you know that there's something there. It's just a matter of if we can get it out. And I think this might be the time that we do get it out, but I think honestly the best we can hope for is probably a tie. Yeah, I think that would be a terrible result for them. I don't know. It's interesting watching the kind of unrest in the LAFC fan base this year with the style of play that Dolo's been playing. I don't think many people are happy. It's going to be interesting to see how it matches up to us.
I think they've been concerned about the idea that he's kind of like, I mean, he announced that he's leaving, right? So like is he already 1 foot out the door? Like, is he really putting out the best lineups? From an outsider's perspective, they look like they're doing fine. They've had to deal with a bunch of comps, and the only thing that we might have going for us is the fact that they have to play in a playoff game to get into a very exclusive tournament right after this. So they might rotate, and I wouldn't put it past them to, and they probably should.
Dude, that tournament's worth more than
they absolutely should. Like if they were to play their B squad, they would be worth it. But I don't know if they
manager Dolo is too. He's very pragmatic in that sense. I wouldn't be surprised.
Very interesting sides of the coin for both teams, right? Like we can't get a win, and they have this massive game coming up against a massive team in Club America. Like that's tough, dude. This is such a weird. This might be the most confusing El Tráfico to grasp. All the other ones have had stakes and like the Rose Bowl and this and that, and like it's got energy. This one doesn't feel like it has the same spark. I'm not sitting here going, "This is the El Tráfico. This is the one that we have to get." And for them, I don't think they think the same thing. It feels like this one's just a wash. Like whoever wins it, wins it.
Yeah.
That might be a good thing for us. I don't know.
It feels like there's more pressure on their side than our side.
It just looks really bad if we get our first win against them. And that's the main discourse I feel like was from them, is that like it would be typical for us to have this awful season and then get our first win by just slapping them up.
I mean, it would be typical of just the MLS as a whole for that to happen.
That's true. But I think that's their main concern in terms of us beating them. I don't know if there's anything behind it. But I'm hoping we can get something.
It's interesting.
Royce magic.
I hope that every day.
I saw a lot of the same discourse from Philly fans before the game, that they were worried that this was a trap game and that they were going to get their first loss to us. Nearly did. But it feels like any team we play against is going to have that mentality now. We can't let this team be the first team. We can't let us become the first team that this team beats.
Yeah.
So I feel like every fan base is going to be saying that. And Dylan's point of that Club World Cup game, it's a $10 million game. Pretty much right after, it would be stupid to put your best 11, tire them out, let them get riled up for this rivalry. So I think LAFC fans in this case, they're valid to think that, but if I'm an LAFC fan, I don't mind. It's not really going to change much in the trajectory of either of these team seasons, I don't think. If the Galaxy get a win, it might be good for the psyche, the mentality, all of that. But again, we're talking about maybe making playoffs, and LAFC are most likely than not going to make playoffs. So regardless of what happens, again, I think they're going to be banking it for that Club World Cup game. And I wouldn't care too much if I was an LFC fan, if they lost this game, knowing that we have a $10 million game we want to go win. So like you said, Dylan, very confusing. El Tráfico, super, super weird dynamics. I don't think we've ever seen this before. But yeah, like you said, it could play into the Galaxy's hands. And I'd love the scenes if that to happen. The discourse would be great afterwards.
The more I'm thinking about it, the less they should be playing their starts. Because the idea of this rivalry game and form going out the window, and like if anything goes wrong for this Galaxy team at home, I guarantee you Dennis Bouanga is getting his shins kicked in. He's getting his shins kicked in. Like
100%. Regardless,
it's
you're getting his shins kicked
by a
in.
fan.
it's also true.
Yeah, by me.
Dude, yeah.
By a pitch invader.
Dangerous game. This is the definition of a trap game for LAFC.
Yeah.
Because you can really have a lot go wrong and not a lot go right here. They can take care of business and still get someone just totally taken out due to injury we've already seen it's starting to boil. Like the Fagundes almost got into a fight. Garces almost got into a fight at the end of the last game. It's been boiling.
Players have suspensions. We've seen a JP get suspended in other games. It's like it feels like every other game we're fighting at the end of the game. And those are just regular season games against every other against LAFC. I mean, it's gonna be brutal. It's gonna be a war, I feel like, especially on the Galaxy side. They feel like they have to do something. It's definitely about pride for them, regardless of who they play. So it's gonna be a scrappy one, I think, for sure. Dennis is gonna want to wear those old school entire shin guards if he wants to make it home in one piece.
Yeah. Dude, that's the full shin pad. I totally forgot about those where you had to put it like over your heel.
You got the two straps on each end.
Yeah. Yeah, I think every other team now is just thinking like Kuzma. At this point, it's just don't be that team. Yeah. That's where we are. We're just the team that everyone is like, just don't be that team. Cool. Do we want to do predictions? Wrap it up? Call it a day?
Yeah.
2-2.
2-2.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I'm going with the 2-2.
Do you have a star player in this one?
Royce.
Nice. So do you think we go with the false 9?
Yes. I think so to start.
Peck and Pencil are both back, so.
Oh, Peck is back?
They're both in training, so.
That's true.
Oh, nice.
So I think the false 9 with
That's
those
actually
two.
really good.
Yeah,
I think that plays first strings.
I do worry about each of their form. Neither of them has been brilliant this year, and just coming off of an injury, maybe they're coming back a little bit sooner than they should. Who knows, really? But I don't know.
I was happy with Cuevas too. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing him off the bench.
It's good.
Mm-hmm. As a super sub, definitely. I think that's a good idea. Tired legs, let him get some confidence, but I don't see either player having all of that much confidence. I'm excited for them to be back. I'm glad they're back, but I'm just unsure about their impact. I hope they make me eat my words and they each score a banger and make assists, but this season just hasn't been it for them. It really, really hasn't. Again, I've said this a couple of times. I'm super interested to see what happens in this offseason. I think there's going to be a lot of moves, and we're probably going to be shocked on a couple of them. But, yeah, I don't know how much they're going to change the game. Since I'm yapping, I'm going to go ahead and get my prediction star player. I want to say – in my heart, I want to say a 2-1 Galaxy win, but I think it's going to be a similar 2-2. I feel like it's going to look a lot like that Philly game where we start great, have a first 45, hopefully a good 60 minutes this time. I'd love to see it carry them over into the second half at least. But again, like we mentioned earlier, I think depth is a really big issue. LAFC, they have a little bit of a roster. How much of it they're going to show in this game is for question. But I wouldn't be surprised to see some of their different makers get maybe 30 minutes, 20 minutes in this game. So with them having depth, us having not that much, I think that's going to be the difference in the final 30, 40 minutes. So I see it being a 2-2, a 2-0 at the end of 45, maybe a 2-2 at the end. But I'm going to stick with that 2-1 in my heart. Never going to root against this team to drop any points. And star player, I'm going to copy Dari again, Marco Royce. He's going to have to cook again, lead us through. So we'll see what happens.
Common theme. Everyone's back on the Royce train. I think he's going to be instrumental in our win against LAFC.
Hell yeah.
I feel like I keep saying this every prediction, but I'm hoping that we could snap out of this shit. Everyone just grabs himself by the balls and plays. I saw moments last game where we were like, okay, we fucking cannot let this slip. And they're throwing their fucking bodies like ragdolls in front of the shots. So that's there. And I think we just keep getting really unlucky. And that shit goes in. But at certain points, I've seen it with fucking City this season. There's times where there's just a turn of the switch and balls that were going in off the post are going to go out off the post. I'm hoping that is this game, and I'm hoping we can just go through with a 1-0.
1-0. Oh boy. I'm gonna look into the camera for this one. Directly pan straight into the camera. If there was ever a time to snap out of a bad streak, it's a rivalry game, right? Like they say form goes out the window in these games, and I'm hoping that this is the case. And I think it relies on our best players being our best players, so I'm going with Paintsel. I saw all those Royce runs where he's flicking it over his shoulder and it was landing to Fagundes, and I'm hoping instead of it landing to one of the older, more mature players on the squad, we were giving it to one of the younger, faster, and better forwards in the squad and Paintsel. And I think that he can bag 2 for us if he's up to par, and that the whatever ailment that he had before is good to go.
Amen.
And I think we win 3-1 because form goes out the window, and it would be so Galaxy to go into this game and take it to LAFC and win 3-1 right before they have to go play their most important match of maybe their entire history. So yeah, not looking at the camera anymore because it's very hard to do. I don't know how people do that for a living. I have no idea. It's very impressive to anybody that actually goes like this and talks to a camera like this, where they have to look at themselves and go,
yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, not me. I'd much rather be looking off to the side, looking at you guys. It's way weird when it's like I'm hearing stuff and I'm like looking, but whatever. So cool. We good to wrap it up?
Think so.
Andrew, plug your shit and we'll get out of here.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yeah, let's do it for Vanney is the very last thing I'm gonna say. Yeah, Los Angeles Sports Nation will have a new article coming out tonight. We just talked about the Vanney situation. Good article where I'll say I advocated for him to stay. So I'm going to take credit for this renewal. And I'll take credit for the 2027 MLS Cup win as well, just from now. And we'll have another one talking about everything. Kuntz's podcast appearances, this renewal, obviously, and what I think this means for the future. Again, I think it's going to be 2027, 2028. We'll be talking about all of that there. So keep an eye out. We're on X, Twitter, as you see right there, NGF Andrew. One day I'll learn how a camera works, but you can find us there, find our discussions. We're on Instagram, Nuestra Galaxia Futbolera, but I'm an UNC, so I'm not really active there. Find me on X, Twitter for that. But yeah, we're looking forward to talking Galaxy with you guys and talking this next win.
You know what? It was good to have all 4 of us back on a pod. I think this is the good luck charm. I think this is what's gonna. I think this is it. This is the one. Cat made an appearance. We've had dogs in this. I think this has just been a great episode.
Here.
Will we get some more dogs? I got mine today.
Oh,
Chilling.
Let's get all the dogs. But yeah, I'm cool. Galaxy going in to beat LAFC. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Speaking good omens. Oh yeah. That's that. We're ending it right there. I'm not even going to continue talking. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace out, guys.
LA, Highland champions. They're going to go alone. Still back. What a goal. It's 6. They just cannot stop scoring. The volley from Vanney. Yes. San Jose carved open with a world-class pass from Ricky Pooch. Glittering Galaxy, and Landon Donovan is the match winner.